I present to you all the car detailing tier list. So you might be asking, like, what the hell, man? What's the point of this? Well, I've been detailing for a long time. I think it's time to tell you guys what I find really useful, what I find sort of useful, and what I find not useful at all. A lot of these things in this list here that you can see are gonna be pretty useful, like, no doubt about it. There also might be some things I missed that might be straight trash that you guys might want to know about, and I forgot them, but I tried to get as many things as I could. I have 42 different items here that I could recall from looking at what I have currently. This is just my perspective from after detailing for about a year now. All of the things I bought, you know, there's a ton of different like pieces of equipment I've acquired over the years or over the year. Some of it I've like just basically thrown away right away because it's like straight garbo. So I'm also like kind of chilling right now. I might have to take out my sweater. It's freaking hot as heck in here. You know what? I'm actually gonna turn down the temp. It's 70 in here. Holy crud. I'm gonna die. I know you might be like, what? 70? That's baby talk. But you guys gotta remember, I'm used to that cold weather. All right, so I've got 6 different levels here. We're going from God tier being the highest, then S class just being under that. 83% recommend. So that's like something that's like good, but there might be something better, or perhaps it's just not that necessary when you have other tools. It's okay. I mean, it's like, yeah, it's just like right down the middle. Like you could get it or not. It's not gonna, you might find it useful, you might not. Is, you know, where you start getting on the downslope. These are like things that can easily be replaced by something way better usually. And then straight trash is like, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, why would you ever buy this? That's kind of like the 6 tiers I'm going with here. And I'd also like to mention that I tried to organize them so they'd be like all around the same area. So we have a couple different like categories, I guess is what I would call them. So I have, okay, let me just redo this. All right, perfect. So you see, I got this first section here, which is right above me is gonna be the brushes. Then to my right, we have different spray bottles, chemicals, pressure washing equipment, cleaning methods, just equipment, and then some like whatever. Let's just get into this crap. So the first thing, and some of these pictures are kind of hard to see what they are, so I'll describe them to you guys. So hopefully that'll help you to follow along because these aren't very well labeled, or some of them are kind of small and hard to see as well. So the first one here is a wheel brush, and it's kind of like that blue one I have. It's like got those stiff bristles. This one is definitely going to be an S class. It's a really good solid option for barrel brushes, and because of the way the bristles are, you're able to get behind the brake calipers usually, even if it's a tight fit. So the only thing that's really going to cause you an issue is if the metal rod in the middle is too large to fit in that gap, which usually that won't be the case, but if that does happen, then, well, that just sucks, doesn't it? The other one is, this is also a wheel brush, and this is like a microfiber towel edition. I don't know, I personally don't like them. I have one, and I used it when I first got into detailing, and after I got the bristle one, it's like the microfiber towel one is just so much worse. It's like really thick and clunky, so you can't really get behind that many brake calipers, and because of that you're missing out on like cleaning potential. So I think maybe I just haven't found the right use case for it or something, but I think it's generally a lot worse. And also because you're cleaning wheels, it's super dirty, and these kind of stiff bristles clean off really well, whereas the microfiber version is not going to clean as well. So there's going to be a lot of dirt buildup in there, and it's just going to be a lot worse in my opinion overall. If you have other opinions about it, let me know. I'd love to hear them, but that's just my thoughts. This next one is a pet hair brush, and I actually think that these are pretty useful, but I don't think they're necessary. And I say that because usually when you're detailing, you can use other methods of getting pet hair out, such as using like a drill brush. I've had success with really only a drill brush, I guess. Hand brushing is a little difficult. Maybe I just haven't encountered that much pet hair yet. But if you do a lot of details for people with pets, then maybe this is higher on the tier list for you. But for me, I've only done maybe 1 or 2, and I was able to get it out with the drill brush. So depending on what you're doing, this could be definitely a God tier for sure, because I see people use these and they just like scoop up the hair so easily. But for me, I'm going 83% recommend. Next one is these detailing brushes, and I love these things. These things are definitely gonna be God tier. You know, I don't say this lightly, but these brushes are gonna be what makes or breaks that interior detail, because when you first get into your car, you see that center console area, you see your wheel, you see like all this stuff, and you can just imagine it. Because of these brushes, you're able to get into a lot of those cracks and crevices. You know what, actually, I'm gonna bump it down to an S class because I don't think it's quite God tier, but I still think they're extremely useful. You're able to do a much better detail, and that's gonna be a really powerful tool for you to use. This next one is going to just be a generic big bristled brush. I normally use this kind of a brush with a carpet, but you could also use it with a wheel. You could use it with really anything, like an engine bay, whatever you want. I would go with, this one's kind of tough. I'm gonna give it an It's Okay. I usually use that kind of a tool on my detail like pretty consistently, like I'm always using it. But the thing is like I know that there are better tools out there than using that kind of a brush, such as if you have a steamer or, you know, those kinds of big brushes, like they don't really fit into small areas all that well. So when you're doing interiors and you're starting to get carpet, you can get some edges really well because of how the the Brussels sprouts are layered. You know, I just said Brussels sprouts as a joke. You don't have to take it seriously. The bristles are just able to get into those corners super well, but when you try to get under the pedals or under the seats, usually it's going to be a little bit too big for you to actually do that. Same thing applies to when you're doing engine bays, but not so much when you're doing like a trunk or wheels and stuff like that. It's definitely a useful product to have that kind of like a fat-headed brush. I wouldn't say it's like amazing or anything. It's definitely something you're gonna want though as a detailer, and maybe I should bump it up. Okay, I'll give it an 83% just because of the ability for you to do wheels with them and stuff. I think, you know, that's going to be a pretty important kind of tool to have when you're doing wheels. Next one is a horsehair brush. Oh my gosh, I got to give this a straight trash. When I started detailing, I was like, okay, how do I get leather without scratching it? So I got this freaking horsehair brush because it was labeled as like a nice soft leather brush. Holy crap, it does nothing. It's way too soft to like actually agitate any surface. Here, I'll pull it up. I'll show you guys how useless this thing is. So this is like the duster. So I don't know, I should just use it for dusting now. But like you can see like when I like grab it, like there's only so much I can squeeze it, so it makes it hard to get behind those wheel wells. And then this horsehair brush, like look at this. Okay, well, whatever. Like I don't know, I feel like I can't. So here's my mouse. Whoops. Whoa, this thing is super clean. No, I'm just kidding, guys. It's not that clean. I don't know, maybe I just like wasn't really appreciating this thing as much as I should. But when it comes to doing leather and stuff, I found that just using a frickin' microfiber is way better. When it came down to it, using the microfiber towels had the same impact as this, but this just took longer because I had to go into my bag and frickin' fish this thing out and then use it and then wipe up all the stuff with my microfiber. So this felt like just an extra unnecessary step, and so I cut it out and I put it in the straight trash column. This, whatever, we're just moving on. Oh, is that what I think it is? Drill brushes, holy. Oh man, this is tough. I'm not sure if I'd put it in God tier or S class. And this is like just all the drill brushes. So you got your little, you know, small drill brushes, and then you got your pipe cleaner ones, and then you also got the big flat circular ones for like carpet mats and stuff. I'm gonna put it in S class. So there are a couple problems with using a drill brush, and that's how much space the tooling takes up. When you're doing interiors, you can't really get under seats at all. You can't get under the pedal. You can sort of get under it with the carpet brush I mentioned earlier, but with the drill brush you definitely can't. Other than that though, this tool is insane. It just knocks out literally any stain. I've had maybe 2 stains that I couldn't get out, and it's because they were either paint or dye that was like literally soaked into the rug, so there was no way I could get it out with that kind of tool. I'd have to use a chemical or maybe just re-dye it altogether. That's definitely S-class right there, good stuff. It'll make your life a lot easier when you're cleaning any kind of floor mat, any kind of carpet. Like you saw when I did this one nasty trunk, it just like revitalized the crap out of that thing and it looked really good. It really shines when you get to those large flat areas or, you know, if you use the pipe cleaner one, it'll shoot up a bunch of chemical cleaner, but it also does a really good job at getting into those corners and crevices that you wouldn't normally be able to hit with a large flat brush. So I'm just giving it an S class because it does have those cons of the size of the tooling, and you also need the tooling to support it. If you have a drill, definitely recommend getting drill brushes because they are amazing. Oh Jesus, the seatbelt brush. All right, we're just gonna skip that one. Okay, but if you really want to know why a seatbelt brush is trash, just think about it. Like, if a seatbelt is dirty, I could literally just spray on some chemical and just wipe it with a microfiber and it'll be clean. If it's stained, I'll use an extractor. I'm not using a seatbelt brush, like, let's be real here. Next one is a pump sprayer. Oh, these things are awesome. I'm gonna give it an it's okay. Actually, I'm gonna give it 83%. So when you're detailing, you'll find that, you know, you spray a lot of freaking chemicals. When you're doing this on one wheel, it takes a lot of time, and you're just doing this on 4 different wheels, and you gotta spray a lot of chemical. So pump sprayers are super nice for wheels, they're great for carpet, they're great for spray-on waxes, they're great for, you know, really anything where you need to cover a large surface area with a lot of chemical. They save you a lot of energy and time. They also usually will have a larger size so you can have more liquid in them, so then you can do more work with one fill of the bottle, which is gonna be really nice. You're going to want a couple of pump sprayers, maybe like some foaming ones, maybe some just straight spraying ones, but when you're doing some of those more repetitive spraying tasks, they're gonna be super useful. You wanna keep in mind that when you do have a pump sprayer, it does spray a lot of chemicals, so just be careful of like overspray, because that's a pretty common issue with those kinds of sprayers there. And then also the pricing is gonna be a little bit higher. You're saving yourself a lot of energy and time, depending on what kind of pump sprayer you get and all that kind of good stuff. Oh, yo. Foam bottle, god tier. Or not foam bottle, foam cannon. The foam cannon is gonna be like your bread and butter of a detailer. You can load like pretty much any chemical you want in there, but you just got to keep in mind that when you do put a chemical in there, it's going to get diluted because, you know, it gets mixed with water when it gets shot out. There's a limited set of chemicals you can mix in there if you don't want it diluted, essentially. You know, I only use it really for car washes. It makes your life so much easier. You'll get really good results and you'll save a ton of time using these. They're a little bit more expensive, but I think it's definitely worth it. They'll last you a long time depending on, you know, if you get a good one or not. You look like a freaking beast. What more could you ask for? Here, wait, I gotta get an epic shot. What more could you ask for? All right, enough clowning. Yeah, that's the foam cannon. Next one's a little foam bottle. Either like a little one or whatever. I'd put it in the it's okay. It is extremely useful, so I have one that I use just for like an interior detailer, and I'll just throw it on to the more sensitive electronics on the inside. I think it's really helpful for basically applying a chemical with a lot of air so that, you know, it's not like seeping into cracks and ruining electronics. And generally this isn't a problem if you use a electronically safe interior detailer. If you want to be like consistent in the cleaner you use, then, you know, having a pump foamer is going to be super nice, especially like a small little one where you can just dab a little bit on the dash area and just, you know, brush it up. And you guys have seen I've used it tons of times in some of my older videos, and I still have it. It's a good product. The only thing I don't love about it though is that, you know, it's an extra thing you're carrying around. My like considerations come from being a mobile detailer. Just keep that in mind. If you have a shop, portability really isn't an issue for you, so you can have as many tools as you want. You just gotta worry about storing them and remembering where the heck you put them. For me though, I like to be like minimalistic in my approach and just trying to... Did you guys see that? What was that? I need some water. It might not be for everyone. It might not be necessary for you either. If you have a non-electrically conductive interior detailer, then you might be just good to go with just a normal spray bottle. The one thing that is nice though is that when you do foam it up, it's really easy to brush around because like it's already foamed for you. Ooh, all-purpose cleaner. I don't know, this one's tough for me because I don't use it a lot, but if you don't want a lot of chemicals, all-purpose cleaner is going to be pretty much the only chemical you need. I'll give it a 83%. The only time I really use all-purpose cleaner is on rubber and plastic floor mats. I could use it literally pretty much everywhere in the car as long as I get the right dilution ratios. But the thing is like usually the smell isn't going to be quite as pleasant as some of these specific chemicals, if that makes sense. So if I use an all-purpose cleaner instead of an interior detailer, the interior detailers usually smell really nice and they clean very lightly. There's like zero chance of damage. But if you use a heavy APC, the smell isn't usually going to be as great. And also, you know, you might ruin something because of how strong the cleaner is. But if you're just starting to get into detailing, I would recommend having a few different chemicals with different purposes, just because it's easier to separate that out. And when you're reloading the chemical, you're not worried about these different ratios that you may or may not remember. But with an all-purpose cleaner, you can, if you're good with how you keep track of things and you're on top of that, then you can basically do probably like leather seats, doors, interior dash type stuff. You could do windows, but I'd be a little worried about streaking with the APC. You'd definitely do floor mats. I wouldn't really do carpet with it, but I know you could use it on like headliner and stuff. So you could probably use it on carpet as well. So if you're looking for a budget cleaner that you just want to plow a whole car through, then I would definitely recommend having the APC. But like I said, you know, I feel like it's better to split it up. Next one, wow, I can't read these at all. So this one's Finisher. And what Finisher is, it's basically like a carpet deodorizer. It's the last step. So after you clean it, you put on the deodorizer, and what happens when it dries, there shouldn't be any really large smells coming out of the carpet. I'd say it's like it's okay. I really do like this product a lot personally. I pretty much always use it regardless of what's going on. But I feel like if you're just getting into detailing, it's not super important as a product, because if you do a good job cleaning out the, you know, whatever's causing the odor, and then you like use carpet cleaner and stuff, that usually deodorizes already. And so once you get to this finisher step, it's like already pretty much there's no smell left. If you want to go that little extra step and maybe give these guys a little extra money, then you could use I believe it's like a Hydroxygen by Blockside, or I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna look it up. Peroxide treatment that kind of just kills whatever bacteria or does something like that. I think it kills it. I think hydrogen peroxide kills bacteria, so that's why you see it as like a medical thingamajig. And it also dries up really quick. Okay, enough factual information. So that's why I put it in It's Okay. I feel like there's other ways around using a finisher. Next one, it looks like it's Terminator. Terminator is a stain remover. This one's also kind of tough because I feel like if you have a good carpet cleaner, you don't really need a stain remover. I'll put it in It's Okay again. Usually if you do your research and you get a good carpet cleaner, you'll be fine without any stain remover, and that's because the carpet cleaner, a carpet cleaner acts as like a deodorizer, a cleaner, and, you know, a stain remover. So it's got all three of those things in it, but these other chemicals you can get just support it and make it even better. You know, as a starter, you don't necessarily need a stain remover. I certainly didn't have one when I started. I just had carpet cleaner and it did great. As long as you're picking your chemicals well when you start, you don't need to buy a bazillion different chemicals. You only really need like maybe five or six of them, I think. So you got like your car foam, car soap, carpet cleaner, interior detailer, and then like a wheel cleaner, I guess. I'm trying to think, is there something else? Oh, like a glass cleaner, I guess. So like 6 different things. You know, there's not really a whole lot, but you know, that's a pretty good amount already. And if you add like stain remover, finisher, you know, you're already getting up to 8, and like rinseless wash and all this other garbage. So next one's a tire gel. I'll put it on It's Okay again. I think like the idea of tire gel specifically, it's smart, but usually you can use other types of products that are more applicable to more surfaces. So one thing I like to think about is like CarPro Pearl. You can use that on leather seats, you can use that on your dash, you can use that on your wheels, you can use that on your engine bay. Like there's so many uses to one singular product. And sure, it might not be as good on wheels as this tire gel stuff, but it's going to still be good enough that when you finish a detail, it's going to look like the car is shining and stuff. The customer is going to be happy, and it may last not as long, but even tire gel, it lasts like maybe 3 trips. I mean, the difference between 3 trips and 2 trips, I'm not gonna really be too worried about it personally. You know, it's something to keep in mind. You can get a tire gel and it will perform better usually, but usually you can get away with having less chemicals and just, you know, having one thing that does a lot of things really well already. Next thing is rinseless wash. I kind of love this stuff, to be honest. I'm gonna put that in S-Class. I think rinseless wash it's literally one of the cheapest products you can buy, usually because you can dilute it like an insane amount. I know for the one I picked here, McKee's, you can dilute it 1 to 256 or 1 to 128. That's how much you need to literally clean like door jambs and stuff. So if you buy a gallon, that's lasting you like 10 years, unless you're doing like a bazillion cars a day. It's like very price efficient, does a really good job at cleaning paint, and you know, you could use it if you wanted, you could use it as actually a pre-wash. So you just spray it on the car with it and then wash it off. Not the best pre-wash though, to be honest, but it is an option. And it's also very good if you're in an environment where you don't have access to water. When I first moved to where I am now, I just would use the rinseless wash to wash my whole car. And it took a while, but it did work. There's a lot of merit to using a rinseless or a waterless wash. I generally think they're the same thing. But if they aren't, I don't really care. You can let me know. Next one is the interior cleaner. Woo! This one's also going in S-Class, baby. So the reason I like this, or I'm ranking this higher than APC, is because I think an interior detailer, or an interior cleaner is like safe on all the interior surfaces. So you can use it on like any kind of like leather seats, dash, door jambs, like all those types of plastics and leathers, and it's like gonna do a really good job. I mean, even if there are like, you know, stains or sticky substances, an APC will do just about as good a job as an interior detailer. And I've used an interior detailer in some pretty gross interiors, and it's done a really good job. Like that one cup holder I did, that thing was like straight up full of chocolate, and it turned out really good, and I was only using an interior detailer. So I think interior details are great because one, they smell really good, and usually you can get them with like a lot of nice properties like antibacterial. They smell good too, so it's like a 2-in-1 demolisher meal. It's good stuff. Next one is 303. This is a plastic protectant. I'll put it in God tier. Plastic protectant, it's gonna be that like final step that separates you from an amateur. A lot of like worn out or okay, so let me start from square one. So when you finish a detail, all of the things in the car and outside of the car are gonna be clean. The problem is, like, even if it's clean, there's still that, I don't know how to say it, but like there's that remaining stuff. Whatever. There's like that, like you can have browning on wheels, for example, or maybe your plastic floor mats look faded, or your dash looks faded, or I don't know, just picture that. So you just finish a detail, that's what it looks like, right? Then you go to throw on some plastic protectant. It'll usually restore the appearance of all those surfaces, and so you won't have that browning. You might still have some fading depending on really how old the car surface is and also what color it is. So the color actually does matter. Like lighter colors, it's hard to see if there's plastic protectant on there, but with darker colors, like it looks really good, and that's gonna separate you from like an amateur because of that, you know, new vibrancy, that restored new feel that you get from using plastic protectant. And it's a very versatile product. You can use it on a ton of different surfaces. Like I said before, with the Pro, leather, plastic, and rubber. Like it's got all of those covered, and that's pretty much like half your car. This next one's carpet cleaner. Oh man, I love carpet cleaner. This one's going God tier again. I'll actually fit in with the other ones in S-Class. So carpet cleaner is gonna be like basically a necessary product to have for any detail because things fall on the ground, whatever, and you need carpet cleaner to clean it up. So pretty simple stuff, and it's pretty useful. Man, I put a lot of stuff in this list. Sheesh kebab. Next one is a car foam. I thought I had this. I don't know. I'm gonna do this one in 83% recommend, and this might seem like contrary to like everything I've ever said in my life, but when it comes down to like, do you need car foam? You know, I did put the foam cannon in God tier, but like you can use other chemicals inside. Okay, I'll move it up to S-Class. Just don't worry about it. So I think car foam's like really good because, you know, you're having that protected wash there, and also it's just a reliable product. Like, what can I say? It's, you know, solid. You can do a lot of things with it. Like you could use it as a hand wash. So if you want to just not get any car soap, and I do see a lot of people do that. I personally don't, but you can. And you know what? Maybe this is S-Class. Yeah, I'm liking this in S-Class actually. It's kind of growing on me. Yeah, I think it has a lot of potential to speed up your exterior detailing process if you're in a time crunch, and also, you know, make you feel good about life because you're foaming your car. Nothing better. Wheel cleaner. Ooh. Woo. I don't know. This one's tough. Yeah, I'm gonna put wheel cleaner in 83%. This might come as a shock to most of you, but when you're detailing a car, generally, the wheels aren't too important for the customer unless they're actually really gross and like really brake dusted. Usually when you're washing a car, when you foam it down and rinse it, the wheel will look clean. But if there's a lot of embedded contaminants from like your brake pads or from driving around, things like that, then that's where your wheel cleaner is gonna come in and demolish all of that. Most of the time when I'm detailing, there really isn't a big need for me to do wheels because they're not that dirty. But if you do run into that, then you're going to want a wheel cleaner because it's going to be dirty. So that's why I put in 83% because there is that 17% where I'm like, I could get away with not using any wheel cleaner. Definitely recommend wheel cleaner though. It's a great product. And this Adams one here, I'm really excited to actually try out. I've been using BrakeBuster for a while and haven't been too impressed by it. I know everyone loves it, but I don't know. It just seems mediocre to me. Next one's a trim restore. I'm gonna put this one in Like I said before, we can just use a plastic protectant and it'll have like the same application, same result. Maybe it lasts a little less, I don't care. But I think, buying a totally separate trim restore is totally not necessary. Maybe there are some good ones out there, but the Meguiar's one that I have personally, it's kind of just like whatever. Car wash. I mean, this one's kind of tough. I'm gonna put it in it's okay. It really depends. So if you have foam and a foam cannon, you might not need a car wash. But if you only have a car wash, then it's gonna be better than having a foam cannon. I don't know how that makes sense, but basically car wash by itself is great. And you can just use, a wash mitt and some car wash and you'll have really good results. But you could speed up that process by using a car foam and washing it the same way. That's why I'm putting in it's okay, because if you have the option, definitely go for the foam cannon with the foam wash and then hand wash it if you want, or you could just simply go with the car soap and do the bucket method and all that good stuff. Next one, the 40-degree nozzle. God tier. We always use the 40-degree nozzle. You want that light pressure. You're not trying to blast anything out of the paint really. If you want to go heavier, do that in the wheels or wheel well area, but 90% of the car, you're using the 40-degree tip. I literally only use that tip. So 25, I'm gonna put in the it's okay because when you're looking at using other tips, it's not really necessary, but I could see it being useful for those wheel wells and wheel areas, like I said, and also maybe the underbody area. Yellow, 15 degree. I'm gonna put it with the green as well because, like I said before, you could also use that one for the wheel wells, but it should not be necessary by any means. I actually put that one in because it's getting a little too close to her comfort. Red tip, straight trash. Don't use that on car detailing. Straight lance, garbage. You have to bend over so much more to get specific areas like wheel wells and lower on the car. So personally, I like the bent pressure washing tip better. And so I'm gonna put that one in God tier as well. Actually, it's not that great. I'll put it in 83%. You can use a straight lance. I'd personally recommend getting a stubby wand and getting a bent pressure washing tip. But if you have to deal with using a straight lance, it's gonna be all right. But I personally just don't really like it, and usually you have to be so much farther away from the car just to get any action on there. Whereas with the bent one or a stubby, you can be pretty close to the car, like maybe within 4 feet. So it's a lot more manageable space-wise. So if you have a ton of space, maybe you're okay with a straight lance. But personally me, I'm just not, okay? I'm not. Oh God. Tire guards, straight trash again. So I bought these thinking my pressure wash will never get, or my hose will never get stuck on the wheels again. Used them twice and my pressure washer hose got stuck on the second time because it was too high. So the wheel guard only goes up about maybe 2-3 inches. So unless your hose is exactly flat on the ground, it's not gonna be useful at all. And the time it takes to set them up and get them out and move them around, just not worth it generally. It's better to just be a little patient and actually walk back and pull the pressure washing hose out of the way if it's in the way of something and going forward normally. I wouldn't recommend buying those. There's people on Amazon just seem to love them. They're garbage. The 1 bucket wash method. Okay, I don't know what that was. Just let's move on. God tier. If you know what you're doing, you can, save a lot of time. So just throw some microfiber towels in a bucket, throw some soap in, and then fill it up with water. And then, you can just use the 3 or 4 microfiber towels that you have in that bucket. to wash the car instead of using one reusable mitt. It's a little more efficient. It takes a little more resources, obviously, and a little more like attention because you have to pay attention to what you're doing. I guess that's with the 2-bucket method as well, though. The 2-bucket method, I don't know. I'm gonna put it in like it's still a good method, but if you're reusing a wash mitt, and I've noticed this when I did the 2-bucket wash method because that's what I did when I started, is that a lot of the dirt doesn't actually come out of the wash mitt when you put it in the other rinse bucket, and that's just because of how like fluffy and thick a wash mitt usually is. It will like encapsulate the crud so well that it just kind of sticks in the mitt even if you try to wash it out. That's what I've noticed. And so, you know, I went to the 1-bucket and I became a lazy 1-bucketer. I just used one wash mitt for the whole car. You know, if you're being smart, you should use a couple of different towels. But yeah, that's my opinion on 2-bucket. Oh, steamer, God tier. This is gonna be literally your bread and butter for any detailer. You can hit literally everything with it, and there's some things that'll actually do even better than most detailing products. So especially on the dash area, you can get into those air vents, you can get into those cracks and crevices super easily. You just have to be mindful that obviously very hot water is coming out and you can burn things. That's one thing to keep in mind. And then also there is a limited run time to how long you can run the machine. And also if it's cold weather, you have to be aware that water inside of the steam line can actually start to get cold. And so when you activate it, it'll shoot out like a jet of water. So usually you need to purge the line before you use it. So there are a couple of like things to be aware of with using a steamer, but honestly, like you can hit literally everything with it and it'll give you like literally the best detail. I have one, but I haven't been able to use it yet because it's been so cold over here. So it's finally starting to warm up, so maybe I'll be able to use it a little more. Next one's pressure washer. I'm gonna put this one in S-Class because you technically don't need a pressure washer to keep your car clean. I'll actually put in 83%. You can use just a hose and you'd be looking gold, but for someone like me who just wants a quicker, faster wash that's going to brush more of the dirt away, I think a pressure washer is very nice. But if you're just getting started and you want to save a little bit of dough, you don't need a pressure washer, okay? I know I put the white tip in God tier, but if you want to hold back on that, or maybe if you're just detailing at home, then you definitely don't need a pressure washer. The only thing is if you're doing wheels, a pressure washer is going to be a lot better than a hose, just because you have to reach so far back with that water, and the pressure the water shoots out from a pressure washer is just a lot higher and better. What is this thing, a vacuum? I don't know what this absolute unit is here. Might be a steam cleaner. Oh yeah, it is. I put that in twice. We'll skip that one. I'll just put it with the other steamer. Or actually, is there a way I can take it out? Oh shoot, no. No! Oh guys, okay. Give me some time. I'm gonna recreate this. I really didn't want that steam cleaner in there. All right, we're back. So you might hear the tornado running. So I've taken some time. I slightly reduced the 80%. I went to 83 or 82%. I felt like 83 was a little bit, you know, generous for some of these. And then also, I'm gonna move the microfiber wheel cleaners to straight trash tier. I don't know why I had them in I think that was a mistake. I'll have to review the footage. So we got a couple things left. One is the vacuum. This is gonna be a necessary tool for sure, God tier. If you don't have a vacuum, you're not gonna be able to detail. That's pretty much it. Like, dang, it's a good tool to have. It sucks and it blows. If you don't have that, like, you just can't make a car look clean. That's just how it is. Definitely need a vacuum. Ooh, a leaf blower. Okay, so I'm gonna go 82%. So I don't have a leaf blower and I haven't used one for detailing, but if we are to compare drying methods, right? So you have either your leaf blower, your drying towel. There are advantages to a leaf blower, right? You're not making contact with this paint, and so there's zero risk of scratching it, but the time you're spending drying is probably gonna be longer using a leaf blower because a leaf blower can only blow the water away so fast, whereas a drying towel, it just mops it up instantly. But then you also have the fact that the leaf blower is gonna be able to get in those cracks and crevices and blow the water out, whereas the drying towel can't. And also you can dry wheels with a leaf blower super easily. With the drying towel, you really can't do that because then you risk making your drying towel all disgusting. I'll actually bump this up to S-Class. I'm definitely looking to get a leaf blower eventually for detailing, but I want one that's corded for sure, because so I can get more power out of it. I feel like all these battery ones like are kind of low energy stuff. So I really want something that'll just like freaking tornado-ify any water around me. So yeah, S-Class for that. Polishing pads. Ooh, I don't really know why I put this one in here. Might have to reset this. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna put this one also in S-Class. If you're not looking to polish cars, there's no point in having them, but you freaking need them for polishing if you're going to get into it. I think polishing is like a fairly simple, yeah, it's just a fairly simple activity that takes a lot of time but yields a really nice result, so then you can make a lot of money. What is that? Oh, that's my thumb. You can get a lot of varieties of them. There's foam ones, and there's also the microfiber towel ones. I have only the foam ones right now, but if you do want something that's gonna destroy anything in the surface, then the microfiber towel is great too. And I really shouldn't have put those in there because I have like nothing else related to polishing, but whatever. Next one's a wash mitt. I'm gonna put it in It's Okay. When it comes to having a wash mitt, they seem really nice, right? Because it's like this really thick microfiber towel that's gonna encapsulate any dirt and prevent it from scratching the surface of a car. But if you're using the 1 bucket wash method or wanna not spend $1 million on one washing towel, then you can get some really nice thick microfiber towels that you have a couple of them that you wash a car with. It's gonna do as good, if not better job, and you can use those microfiber towels for other things as well. Whereas a wash mitt, you're really only going to be using it for washing a car. I don't really believe in necessarily like making a specific microfiber towel have a specific job. You know, there's like a general idea there, but I don't think it's super necessary unless it's like serious chemicals, or like if I were to use let's say a towel that I use to clean wheels that I also use to clean interior, that might be a little bit of a stretch. But when it comes to washing the outside of a car versus maybe rubbing up a carpet or something, there's really not much of a difference there in terms of use. Drying towels, I'll put that in 82% because if you can get a leaf blower, like that's probably going to serve you a lot better and do a better job. You know, if you can't do it, it's gonna, like, the drying towels will save you a lot of money. They do a really good job, really fast job, but there's that chance, like when you have, you know, the door handles or the trunk area where that residual water can kind of just seep out after a while and then dry, and it looks like you got these weird streaking things going on. I don't really know what to do about that, to be honest, because a drying towel is, you can only dry so much and you can only wait for so long. That might just be something that is a negative of a drying towel, and so that's why I put it in the 82% recommend. Next one's microfiber, God tier. So you basically need microfibers for everything, you know, carpets, interior, exterior, get some microfibers. Last one's the applicator pads. I don't know, I've been kind of on the fence about these lately. I'll put them in the It's Okay. This is kind of hard for me because I feel like applicator pads are marketed as this like thing that you just want to apply any kind of protectant with or any kind of more finishing step with, and I don't really think that it's all that necessary most of the time. So like I was saying with plastic protectants, how you can have like your 14 different types of them for, you know, your wheels, you can have one for your trim and all this other stuff. But with applicator pads, you only really need them for like tire gel, or if you're doing a coating on the car, like a ceramic coat. You're not going to be using those all the time. When I'm using plastic protectant, you know, I'm more than okay just spraying on plastic protectant and just wiping it in with a microfiber towel, and I've had great results. But with an applicator pad, I don't really see the benefit unless it's gonna be for tires and, like I said before, some kind of sealant or coating or something like that that's gonna be like a glass sealant or a ceramic coat. So when I first got into detailing, you can see I have a bunch of like those microfiber blocks and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'll use these for my plastic protectants and stuff, and it's like totally unnecessary. I don't want to bring those around with me if I don't have to. I had these like circular ones that I'm trying to get rid of, so I'm just trying to use them. And now I have those block ones that I also got before I really realized that I don't really need applicator pads. They're not too useful, so boom, there you have it, guys. That is the tier list. Like, look at that. I definitely missed a couple of things, but I think this is a good list, and you know, maybe we can add some things on there later, but you know, let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with this list? Okay, you do? Good. All right, we're good then. So, anyway, I'm gonna basically call this one a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of a different type of video. I thought it'd be kind of fun to look at some different products and show you kind of like my experience with some of them and share that with you guys. So it's not product specific though, so These images aren't going to be like the ones I use or anything necessarily. They're just ones that I found really quickly online. So if you want some more information maybe on specific chemicals and ranking, I can't do that yet. I just can't. I've only used, you know, a couple types of chemicals, so I don't really want to rank, you know, different companies' chemicals when I've got no experience with them. So later. I love you guys.